Gauntlet. Let's go.
If you smell what the gauntlet is cooking.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gauntlet Podcast. I am your host with the most, Philly Jim, and I'm coming at you guys on YouTube. We're talking everything about the NFL right now. Deshaun Watson very likely to get suspended after a recent report. Also, we will be taking a dive into our divisional previews for the upcoming season. Our first stop is in the NFC North, and we're going to also get to our sports morons, our non-sports topic. Very, very interesting this week. So if you could trade lives with a person that, or with a celebrity that passed away, you wish them back to life and switch lives with them, who are you going to pick? Think about that. Keep all those thoughts in mind when we get to the end of the show. But without further ado, let's get the crew in the building. I got my man, JJ Jenkins. What's up, JJ?
What's going on, fam? What's
going on, fam? How was the week?
Oh, man. Thank God it's over. That's all I'm
Thank God it's over.
Thank God
That's right. Over. And thank God it's the Gauntlet. And then we got my man, Detroit Dom, making his return. Date night Dom at the concerts, throwing it down, but he's back in the lineup tonight. What up, Dom?
Listen, June 21st is the Wednesday, that first concert. That was the hottest night of the year. It was still 90 degrees when the show was going on, but there was a nice gentle breeze. It was cool. First day of summer next week, June 21st. Forecasted temperature in Detroit, forecasted high, 3 digits.
You're kidding.
100.
Wow. That's wild, man. And then let's welcome to the stage my man, Jay Nelson, in the building.
What up?
They call him the gas cannon. But
I know, do it. Now, James, what's your name? What's your name? Yeah, man. We should have rehearsed.
And we got Randall in the building, first commenter of the night. What's up? Randall the Handle, Sports Talk. Everyone go subscribe to his YouTube channel and go see what he's up to.
Hopefully one of our commenters or guests asks about the names.
Maybe they will. Maybe they won't catch on to it. Maybe they won't. But without further ado, guys, we do have to start off the show the way we always do, which is with your sports morons of the week, ladies and gentlemen. So obviously we all know Sports Moron segment is where we take a dive into the world of sports and pick out the biggest morons. Oh wait, wrong one. But we take a look at the biggest biggest morons.
Hey, moron! Hey, moron!
Man, interesting. So, I guess I'm starting it off. My sports moron actually would go to, and I'm pretty sure we're going to end up talking about him, but I was in a comment section about, and I know we covered this on the show episodes back, but I was in a comment section regarding the whole Deshaun Watson thing, and there was one guy in there that still believes that the Cleveland Browns somehow fleeced the Houston Texans. Now, my thing about it is this, is when the trade went down, yep, that's right. Congratulations, Randall, the first one to catch it. So my thing about it is this, is to anybody out there who thinks that the Browns fleeced the Texans in that whole Deshaun Watson trade, they're only used to the bad transgressions and the bad transactions from like the past. So they should automatically assume, oh man, the Texans got fleeced or whatever. You know, there's, for example, you had the whole DeAndre Hopkins trade and everything and how that went, but that's another story. You know, my thing about it is this, is you can't get hung up off of past bad transactions and automatically think, well, that's what it is this time. You know what I mean? So I know I'm not, exactly bouncing off the walls, yelling and screaming. I'm not screaming there or anything like that. But my sports moron is to anyone out there who was living 3-4 years ago and automatically assume that that's the way it is right now. A lot of people had that at a fair trade. Some even thought the Texans had the advantage. But like with all trades, it's in hindsight and it remains to be seen. But just understand this. The Texans are a rebuilding franchise. We needed the picks, and we got them.
Oh, me? Sports moron is Vegas, because Vegas rarely, if ever, gets shiz wrong. Vegas has both the pathetic, and I can say that because it's true, because we're not as pathetic as them. The Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions, both over-unders are listed at 6.5. So if you want to not lose any money, I would tell anyone, bet the house on the Lions over and the Bears under 6.5. Like, no matter what, you're not going to lose your money. And chances are you're going to double it, placing it on 2 bets. But shout out to you, Vegas. You are my sports moron of the week.
I'm a shout out to the person that kept in my black tee. But yes, my sports were on. I'm going to take it to the NBA. And anyone who is saying KD's legacy has been tarnished because the Warriors beat the same Celtics team that swept them. Do you guys actually are watching these games? Who's Andrew Wiggins on the Brooklyn Nets? Who's the Draymond Green? Who's the Klay Thompson? Like, who are these people that you're going to sit here? Y'all are doing everything you can to get on this man because he went to a team that was stacked at the time. But let's not forget, if they called him and needed him, obviously they felt like he was the person to help them take him to the next level. Get out your emotions. Stop acting crazy, because you thinking that Steph Curry beat a Celtics team when he has a better team than the Brooklyn Nets is going to tarnish KD's legacy. Get off KD. It's not that serious. Move on.
Lord, please forgive me for the words I'm about to say. What the hell is this? What is this? You ruined a perfectly good word mark. A word mark that's been being used for the last 25 years. A word mark that I use my logo. I use the font on my logo. Check my YouTube channel right now. You will see the exact same word font as the old Eagles word font, and you are going to change that. This is the most terrible looking font that I have seen. You have some font that looks like you could go on to Microsoft Word or some crap and put it on there. It looked like a little kid could have made something even better than whoever made the new Eagles word font. So whoever the graphic designer is, I hate you. I want you to be fired immediately. I want you off the Eagles. You are worse than Jalen Reagor. You are a menace to society, and you need to get out of here because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. I as an Eagles fan, I cannot stand for this right now. As an Eagles fan, I cannot stand for this. This is putrid. This is disgusting, and I don't even know what to say. It makes me sick to my stomach, and We're not doing this crap. Like, we're not doing this rebranding crap that these crap teams are doing. We are not the Atlanta Falcons. We are not the New York Jets. We're not the Detroit Lions. We don't need to change our logo because we stink. We're in the playoffs every year. We just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago. We're going to get another one soon. This is disgusting. This is terrible. And I don't know why Jeffrey Lurie would approve this crap. This logo stinks. And I hate it. Did I mention I hate it? Okay, now let's go on with the show.
Dang.
Hey,
Someone needs
pull up the graphic again. Put us on the side. Pull it up again.
I hate this.
Pull
I
it
don't want
up.
to pull it up again. I don't want to pull it
Do
up
it,
again.
please. Look at
This is new to me.
Oh, you can't see. Pull us up on the side so people can see this and that.
That wasn't it.
It's not letting me do it.
Lame. All right, we'll
Hold on a
just
second.
okay. See that?
Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. Go ahead, Dom.
What would you say if Darius Slay approved that logo? You wouldn't be mad, right? That's what it is, though.
Harry Slade did not
Look at
approve
it.
it. It has nothing to do with it.
I know. I'm just saying it's the same, isn't it?
You should have been like, what would you say if Jalen Hurts approved
It's
it?
garbage. It's garbage.
Well,
I wouldn't care if Jalen Hurts
we're
approved
not,
it.
we're not here to talk about Jalen Hurts. We get enough of that from James, and even more of that from JJ. In a
Keep hating on
different
Jalen
way.
Hurts. He's going to prove all the haters wrong.
I told you I wanted Jalen Hurts, and
And you
Lincoln
didn't get him.
Riley 2 years ago. I did.
Well, you're stuck with Jared Goff.
But now you didn't get him,
Till the
so.
wheels fall off. That's fine. I might take Baker next year if Goff doesn't work out.
You might get Baker this year.
No,
Okay.
no.
You might get him this year.
No.
Next year. You
Till the
might
wheels fall off.
Right.
Baker to the Browns or Baker to the Lions.
Jared Goff.
Did I really just say Baker to the Browns?
Yes.
Jared Goff, of all active NFL quarterbacks, has the best passer rating in play action in the whole league.
We don't care. We do not care about Jared Goff. No offense. But anyway,
If you,
I just
talk
need
about
continuity. I need the
Jared
same
Goff-
quarterback and the same head coach
was that-
for 5 years.
Jared Goff was that guy, you wouldn't be so happy that Matthew Stafford won a title for a team that wasn't yours.
Dom is a Goff sexual. Every time someone says something about Jared Goff, he's
We
like,
got
he's actually
with
not,
him. I don't.
he's actually not that bad of a quarterback.
He's not. I don't even like him. I don't love him, but I want
stinks.
continuity. I want the same starting quarterback and the same head coach for 5 years.
Y'all projected to have a top
You had one for 12.
Did you see Jared Goff play with the Rams? There's a reason they got rid of him. There's a reason they wanted Matthew Stafford instead of him.
Wouldn't you?
It's hard to believe that guy
Anyone
slugged it out
would.
with Mahomes at one point. It's hard to believe that guy slugged it out with Mahomes.
And beat him.
And beat
Yeah, and beat him.
Beat him. Like,
Yeah, you know, because Goff threw no picks. Mahomes.
Because I mean, like, it's
threw
not like
3.
they ran
I
the
can't,
ball
believe
the
we're
whole
seriously,
time.
I can't believe we're seriously talking about Jared Goff right now.
could we
Like,
say the default?
They won that Super Bowl against
Could we say-
Brady
can we say the
if Todd
fall
Gurley
of-
wasn't on,
that
one
really
half
wouldn't
of
have.
one
Jared
knee.
Goff,
because his one
Jared
knee's
Goff did
been
not beat
gone.
Tom Brady.
Could we say the fall of Jared Goff?
Yeah, not on their- That
when
game
Todd
wasn't even
Gurley-
about quarterbacks.
When Todd Gurley went down.
That's
Jared
the
Goff-
worst Super Bowl I've ever seen.
Kind of, JJ. That kind of actually aligns up.
JJ, go ahead.
He did like it when Todd Gurley.
We all freaking
Down.
knew that Jared Goff wasn't going to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Drew Brees might have.
Well, here's the
As
problem.
soon as
Tom
I
Brady
saw the
played
end of the
terrible
game,
in
I
that
said,
Super Bowl.
damn it, Brady just won another one.
No
Goff's
one remembers
not
how
beating him.
terrible Tom Brady was playing in that Super Bowl. But go ahead, JJ.
I do.
I thought you weren't done yet. Okay. But anyway, guys, like I said, nobody cares about Jared Goff except Dom, of course. So let's talk about somebody that people actually cares about, which is a Hall of Famer, which is Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson plays 18
Finally.
seasons in the NFL, 997 solo tackles, 54 tackles for loss, 183 pass breakups, 65 interceptions. He was also a 4-time first-team All-Pro and a 4-time second-team All-Pro, and he was a Defensive Player of the Year and a Defensive Rookie of the Year. and he was a Super Bowl champion, of course, with Green Bay. So when you're looking at that resume, that resume is stacked, and not to mention that Mr. Charles Woodson was also the only player to win a Heisman Trophy for the University of Michigan in 1997. Also won a national championship with Michigan.
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going.
That's how long ago it was. But everything on his resume stands out. The biggest thing that I remember, is obviously the tuck rule game, because that's what even to this day, him and Tom Brady are still having their arguments about that. And, maybe if the Raiders win that game, then maybe they're potentially winning a Super Bowl instead of the New England Patriots. And, of course, when he went to Green Bay and when he was a part of that 2011 team, he was a huge part of that team. He brought his presence as a leader, was something that the team really needed to go on the type of run that they went on. And on defense, he was just phenomenal. And he did a little bit of everything. There's a reason he's top 5 all-time in interceptions. But phenomenal player and definitely one of the greatest of all time. And what I think is a top 5 safety of all time.
I have to agree. He's one of the only safeties in this league that I would sit there and say, if I take out, I'm a Ravens fan, if I take out my safety and put him in, I could still see us winning that Super Bowl in 2012, because the way he impacted the game was always needs to be accounted for. This man was an all-pro at corner and an all-pro as a safety, and he was the biggest reason why people attribute Aaron Rodgers finally able to get over the hump and win a Super Bowl, because, correct me if I'm wrong, he had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. And so just his impact alone is just unbelievable, off the charts. And he had the ability to, even while he was playing safety, still play corner and rather effective. I remember as a kid watching him play. My brother had the Charles Woodson jersey, and I played on Madden for Oakland Raiders specifically to be him. And every time I just was amazed at, Madden always at that time used to attribute how the player actually played in the actual game. And Charles was hard to get any passes on. He had pick 6 ability everywhere he went. And just, Charles is amazing. And to be honest with you, he made the play that stopped what turned into Tom Brady. It just wasn't called that way because he, unfortunately, at that time, when I remember it was yesterday, I was watching it, that was a fumble. And that really
absolutely was.
That should have been Oakland in the title game, because the NFL wanted to see the 2 most high-powered offenses square off against each other. But it didn't happen that way, but I still give him credit because he was the one that could have changed the tide of what we know as history now.
I love that both James and JJ, the first word as far as position description was safety. Charles Woodson played for about 15 years.
I remember more of a safety.
He only played safety for the last 3 or 4. And All-Pro, here's the thing. Here's what I wrote down. First team All-Pro at 23.
I think it's because he won a Super Bowl as a safety.
Hang on.
I just remember
Let me
winning
finish.
a Super Bowl.
Is it your time? It's my time. It's my time.
I was just interjecting real quick.
All-Pro at first team All-Pro, 23, 33, 35. Suffice to say, if your last name is Woodson, you can transition from corner to safety and be a Hall of Famer. And he won Defensive Player of the Year at safety at 33 or later. Charles Woodson once said, "Water covers 70% of the earth. I cover the rest." He's the only, and I thought you were going to say, James, you said Michigan, and you might be right. I don't know about that for sure, but he is, and I didn't know this till a year or 2 ago. Charles Woodson is the only defensive player ever to win a Heisman. That was the one year that I was a Michigan fan, and I'm like, oh my God, this dude is awesome. And one of the very few very high cornerback picks in the NFL that actually worked out.
And the craziest thing, Dom, about his Heisman run is actually not even that he's the only player to win the Heisman, but if you look
also
at
played offense.
If you look at who he was up against, he was up against Peyton Manning that season, and he got more votes than Peyton Manning, who we all know Peyton Manning was a generational talent as a quarterback coming into that draft.
Okay, so then there's the question.
And he was phenomenal, and he was phenomenal in Tennessee. So for him to beat him out was also an amazing feat.
In the NFL or college or both, is Peyton Manning a better overall quarterback than Charles Woodson is a corner / safety?
It's debatable.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton Manning's in the GOAT conversation.
Debatable only because Woodson won the Heisman.
He's debatably the GOAT. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to give him the GOAT over Tom Brady, but that doesn't mean he's not still in the conversation.
I can't knock what Peyton Manning did coming up. He was the first to have, all these different deals, and
someone said it the other day.
He was
other than when he got there and won one, he's Aaron Rodgers with the playoff joking.
No, he's not.
He was the transcendent quarterback in his time. Like Peyton Manning was literally the person that everybody talked about. Yes, Tom Brady was winning. He was winning his things. But even then, they often at that time looked at Tom Brady and said, yeah, he's great, but he has an all-pro defense. He has an all-pro offensive line. But with Peyton Manning, when you thought of Indianapolis Colts,
Brady's got 7 rings, right?
Agree. But what I'm saying is
I'm just saying one over 2 of those times he didn't have a top 10 defense.
I remember at that time, everybody wanted a piece of Peyton Manning. Everybody wanted to have him in all of their commercials, have them as a guest speaker in all of their video games, all their games, period.
He's got a very marketable forehead.
Right.
The disrespect.
Unfortunately, Jay, when you said that, I know that's just from the anger because for a long time, Houston was his son. And they documented when you guys played each other. When
Houston and its prime Peyton Manning, you can't even
finally beat him. It was one of those things. He stopped a lot of good teams that y'all had from winning the division.
You can be mad, but it's like me being mad as a Lions fan about not beating Aaron Rodgers.
I look at the impact on a team, and I can't say that I have a decisive edge to put Charles Woodson over impacting his team that paid Manning because the man still won 2 Super Bowls.
He did. But
I mean, he has 2 rings.
But I just would like to point out that I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. Dom did. But the crazy part about the Charles Woodson 97 run is that year the Michigan Wolverines actually split the national championship with Nebraska. Nebraska actually was playing in the national title game against Peyton Manning at Tennessee.
Right.
So here you had the 2 Heisman finalists, going at it for a split national championship. Also, little known fact, another quarterback that was on that Michigan Wolverines 97 squad, Tom Brady. So, so they go way, way, way back than people remember. But one thing about Charles Woodson, excuse me, is he's tied with Rod Woodson and Darren Sharper for the most defensive touchdowns. He's second in picks, 6s, and he's tied with Ken Riley for 5th most interceptions. And he's also one of the few players to appear in Jesus Christ. That's like a pencil head. Do you see that? Like he's got like
a 17
like eraser,
yeah, mad ad space.
You know how like back in school, back in like 4th grade, like first day of school, we get like a new pack of pencils and we pull it out and the erasers like that block. That's how his hand looked. Anyway.
The trapezoid.
Yeah, but he's a college football Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. You talk about a dude that was a game changer. Like there's very few defensive players like a Lawrence Taylor or like a Reggie White, someone that could like, or Watt or somebody, or Aaron Donald that could take the game over. Charles Woodson definitely was one of them. You talk about a dude that was just as good playing sideline to sideline as he was playing center field.
Honestly, I forgot about it, but I mean, his last 2 years at Michigan, but I feel like maybe the little part about it that pushed him over the edge for the Heisman was he also played offense here and there. He also returned some kicks and punts.
Yeah, he had a few touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a few touchdowns. Yeah, he was returning
2, 3, 4 more touchdowns. In addition to the pick 6s.
He did. Yeah, absolutely.
That's why he won the Heisman, because he was doing everything.
You, Charles Woodson, you're the only Michigan player I ever loved. You're the only reason I was ever a fan for 1 year.
You look at, dude.
When I watched that game, I was like, "This Ryan Leaf dude."
So you're saying you don't love Tom Brady?
I'm gonna kick myself off the show. Take it back.
Dom, he did help you win the national title.
You who? What? Michigan? No. Yeah, split.
A split, yeah.
Tom Osborne.
Finishing up, you had defensive players throughout time that were in the Heisman running. I remember Tyrann Mathieu back in 2011 and Manti Te'o back in 2012. And and I thought they were both deserving of the Heisman then. But Charles Woodson definitely was deserving of the award, and he's definitely deserving of any and every accolade that he'd ever done. So
he makes whiskey now. My buddy went and waited in line for like an hour and a half to get his Charles Woodson whiskey bottle signed, or no, bourbon.
That's actually pretty cool.
Dom, you sure you don't want me to buy you this? I'll buy it for you.
No, give me a Woodson. The yellow ones that they never wore.
Tom Brady.
I have a Braylon Edwards.
You got my man Desert Eagle in the building. What up, Desert Eagle? What up, Desert? And since we're at the halfway point of the show, guys, let's have a special word from our sponsors.
Influential people put on more than just a watch. The La Touraine Compass is a classic timepiece that has rewritten the script on what can enable ambitious men to project confidence, attract the right kind of attention, and be priceless. We've created your watch with unparalleled comfort and style that is lightweight and durable without compromising precision and detail. Designed for work, play, and pleasure, this watch is at the heart of your next statement. From our family to yours, La Touraine.
So, guys, make sure you check out all the good stuff on lawterrain.com and use promo code PhillyJim for a discount. So, guys, moving on, we got to get to some NFL news. A recent report this week revealed that the NFL is, in fact, aggressively pushing for a Deshaun Watson suspension for the entirety of the 2022 season after more accusations have come out. It is now up to 26 women alleging that he was doing some really weird things in a lot of these massages. And we all know that it's very, very weird that within a certain amount of time, within like 6 months or something, Deshaun Watson had conversations with Instagram messages from 66 different massage therapists. And so he's over talking to almost 70 women over a period of time. I mean, that's just a problem.
That's like a whole farm system.
I don't care how much you need a massage, and I think getting a massage is good. I think it's a good thing to do. But listen, man, 70 people, 66 people, and you're telling me that's normal? That is not normal. He is clearly a deviant. He clearly has issues wrong with him in the head, and he seriously needs to get help for it. And I don't know what's going to happen with this whole situation. I don't know if he is going to end up having one of these ladies have enough evidence that could lead to some criminal charges, or I don't know if this is just going to be a big, long game of waiting. But either way, it doesn't matter. And that's why the Cleveland Browns should feel like the biggest losers in this situation. And not that Baker Mayfield has been a great quarterback by any means, but he's been the best quarterback that they've had for a very, very long time. Okay? And that's why you see the pictures of it doesn't matter if he's terrible, because the other guys were
at least terrible.
Much, much worse. And that's why you have the picture of that Browns jersey that has all the names and like the duct tape, and it's like dragging on the ground. That's how many quarterbacks.
There's one more spot for Baker.
You severely damaged what semblance of relationship you did have with Baker Mayfield, which is not going to bode well for the Cleveland Browns if indeed something happens. And don't forget that the Browns have already guaranteed Deshaun Watson's money. So if they cut him tomorrow, they would have to eat the $230 million of guaranteed money right away, in addition to all the draft picks they did give to Houston.
But
so this whole situation looks like a complete mess right now. If I was the Cleveland Browns, I would not even want to be associated with Deshaun Watson, because whether he does get any charges or not doesn't really matter, because the media circus in Cleveland is going to continue to happen. And we all know that with Cleveland, they've been a circus. They were a circus last year. They cannot handle a circus, and their season will definitely be in a lot of disarray.
Go ahead,
I see you, NFL. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Dan Snyder and how he was going to expose NFL for all their wrongdoing or whatever the case may be.
he's
all of a sudden, we switch back to Deshaun Watson.
Shift the focus.
I don't think he may have sent messages to 66 different people, but how do we know all of them responded? And how do we know all of them didn't fire back and say, you know what, I'm not interested? We only know the number, but we don't know the context of the conversations. I like what he said during his conference, where he said he's going to do everything that's asked for him because he is still innocent in his mind. We don't have the real ability to tell him whether he's right or wrong. And we don't know. But if he believes he's innocent, and if he knows that he's innocent, he's going to continue to fight. And that's what I've seen from him. At the end of the day, you don't jump from 24 to 66 in a span of a week. How long did it take for these type of situations to come out? Why wait till after the NFL is about to be on the spotlight for possibly going after Dan Snyder? Do we have to hear this stuff? If you were so interested in fighting for justice and to not be in the league, you wouldn't be worried about putting this out now. You would have put that out back then to try to nail him to the wall. It's a very strategic move, in my opinion, from the NFL to detract from what possibly could come about. We talked about this 2 weeks ago when it came to Dan Snyder, and if you want to go after him, he's going to go after you. Now we on Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Jay, you should have went first, but you deferred. But you can get the last word. I'll be quick. It's a whole ass mess. Deshaun Watson thought, regardless of whatever the outcome was, or whether it was 1 or 24 or 66 or 1,066 or none, he tried to like detour around it, like shirk the system, like, oh, I'll just sit out, thinking he wasn't getting suspended. He's going to get suspended. Like, off rips, I was like, he's getting 4 or 6 or 8 games. Now, but the thing is, Cleveland has a clause in that contract. Like, his first year is it's like $1 or no guaranteed money, because like they saw the writing on the wall. And if he said, and I said this from the very beginning, right when they got him, and then they, people thought that they were leaving Baker out to dry. There's absolutely no way that Deshaun Watson plays 17 games this year. At absolute best, he plays 13. And it's an opportunity, and the best opportunity for Baker and the Browns to let him play like he's the best quarterback on their roster if Deshaun Watson is suspended. Put him out there for 4 games, be like, sorry, not sorry, but, let's up your market. Let's increase your trade value. And I mean, I don't know.
Keep in mind, Deshaun Watson did have to waive his no trade clause from Houston to go to somewhere, and he was only going to waive it to a team that was willing to give him the fully guaranteed $230 million.
Oh, and I said this
none
before.
None of the other teams but Cleveland was willing to do that.
It's Cleveland. Oh, and I said this before. Like, Baker was not good enough, but Deshaun Watson, for what he was going to cost you and for how good he is in the passing game, when you are a run-first team, you have a Pro Bowler / All-Pro, and Kareem Hunt is your backup, and he led the league in rushing his rookie year. You don't need Deshaun Watson. Skill set-wise, God forbid contract-wise, or controversy-wise.
I really don't think any of that stuff matters, because It's not really about his play at the end of the day. Nobody would ever question Deshaun Watson's play, but it wasn't a smart move because it was a knee-jerk reaction because as soon as they said, "Oh, no criminal charges," Brown translated that to, "Oh, nothing's going to happen now."
They were vetting that trade for half the season.
The world works with a lot of these civil cases.
They were vetting that trade for half the season last year. They just didn't tell Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely, Desert Eagles did dodge a major bullet.
Watson, contract-wise, skill set-wise, or controversy-wise. Like, you need Baker Mayfield that doesn't play hero ball.
No smart run franchise was going to, A, give up multiple first-rounders like Cleveland did, and B, give him a big contract, let alone $230 million guaranteed. Nobody in their right mind was going to do that.
And getting rid of that headache. But I hope these emails from Dan Snyder come out, and I know Jay's right in lockstep with me. Like, Bob McNair for sure racist, so they can force him out.
Jay's a Texans fan. For everyone that doesn't know that's watching, Jay's a Texans fan, so he's had Deshaun Watson and his team for a few years. So, Jay, I'm really interested to see how you feel about this whole situation.
This is just my personal opinion, but first of all, I think we all can, if we haven't done so already, is let the Atlanta Falcons off the hook. Because when that trade went down, everybody was on the Falcons' neck for fumbling the bag, for fumbling Deshaun Watson, and it looks like they may have dodged the bullet. Arthur Blank might have been smart on this one. But also, and just from my point of view, I feel like this is about Deshaun Watson, but it might be less about him and more about the NFL. You see, there already was an outcry by women for Cleveland signing him to that deal. They felt like they were rewarding him for bad behavior. So now the NFL is painted into a corner. They must make an example out of Deshaun Watson, because if not, there's going to be more of a narrative being pushed out there that the National Football League does not care about women. You've seen it with domestic violence. You've seen it with sexual assault with other owners, and now this. So the NFL now, I feel, is pressured. It's on their shoulders. They have to make an example out of him. Now, you remember the Zeke Elliott case, and yeah, he was proven, you know what, but they still got him for 6 games. Something like this, they're going to push for a year-long suspension. It also may be entirely possible the NFL says,
it cost Cleveland $1 this year.
I'll do you one more. It also may be entirely possible the NFL says you're indefinitely suspended until all civil matters have been settled, which could take more than a year.
Yeah, well then at that point he'll hurry up and get them all
Cleveland
settled.
Cleveland still has to pay him.
He should.
Exactly my point.
From the beginning was
to pay him.
He maintained his innocence because if you settle out of court, people just assume you're guilty. And he probably is. 66 people, come on. He's guilty.
And to Jay's earlier point when he said, you know, everyone was hating on the Falcons for fumbling the bag. You know, when the Atlanta Falcons are actually a better run, smarter organization than you, that's when you know you have a serious problem. So the Cleveland Browns are still the Cleveland Browns, and they will always be the Cleveland Browns.
Taking into account everything with what's going on with those two franchises, I would be happier as the Falcons with Marcus Mariota than I would the Browns with Deshaun Watson. And that's not saying much.
I'll be right back.
But it's the Browns. Moving along.
Mm-hmm. But that was my take on it. I just feel like, you know, of course Deshaun Watson, he's gonna come into press conferences. He's like, I'm not settling. I'm gonna maintain my innocence. I'm gonna fight for my innocence. Okay, cool. We expect that from somebody in that position. Even R. Kelly is maintaining his innocence, you know. But I'm curious to know what is going to happen because I expect at least a season-long suspension. But like I said, they also could come out and say, well, you're indefinitely suspended until all of the suits have been settled, which could take more than a year. And like James said, they still have to pay him.
He should wish for indefinitely because he can get all those suits settled in less than a year.
But my point is, if he does get arrested and he does have to serve any sort of time, it doesn't matter because the Browns are still going to have to eat the money. Like, if they release Deshaun Watson tomorrow, they will still have to pay $230 million.
It
That's
costs
the way it
them nothing.
But hold
for
on, but I
this
did
year.
come across.
Something here.
It's costing them $230 million. How is that costing them nothing?
I did come
this
across
year.
something though. Didn't they? And I'm asking James
It's
or
still costing them
anybody that
$230
knows.
million.
Didn't the Browns have a clause in that same contract that says if we feel his acts or his suspensions or something thereof are detrimental to the team, they can void the contract?
Yes, he's costing them. Deshaun Watson is costing the Browns
think
either
so.
nothing or
I think
$1 for this year.
I'm just genuinely. I'm genuinely asking. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what's
Yeah,
interesting?
no, you're 100% right.
You know
Yeah.
what's interesting about all
There's
this?
a moral clause opt out.
What's going
option.
on, Kara?
You know what's interesting about this, and it all goes to
What's going on?
All right, she's single. What's
JJ,
her
go ahead,
credit
man.
score?
You know what's interesting about this, and this goes to what me and Roderick were talking about the other day. You guys have already decided that Deshaun is guilty. What if you're wrong? What if he's innocent and then he indeed is clear? But you are speaking in the context of he's indeed
I
innocent.
do think he's guilty.
But let me get there. In the deed, everybody does not know the situation that's going around here. I'm not saying anything against
nobody knows except Deshaun Watson and 66 women.
The whole point I'm saying is Browns made a move on the simple fact of in this world of society where everything is taken very seriously, and specifically when you have to think about the underappreciated, like the women and things of that nature, they didn't press criminal charges on him when it's something of like sexual assault, which they would take very seriously. Maybe their mind, they're thinking like there is a chance he could be innocent. And if he could be innocent, I want to be the team to have him on my squad. And I revert back to his press conference. I had said when this whole thing came about, no matter what is thrown against you, if you are innocent, fight till the very death. And the way that he has responded, he is responding as someone is just doing everything that the people that he are paying to protect him and help him get and clear his name has advised him to do. He's not giving no runaround. He's not giving no craziness. He's not doing any of this stuff. So there's a possibility that everybody that has already deemed him innocent could be wrong. And in that sense, I understand where Cleveland is coming from, because they're like, you know what? I've looked at this case in great detail, much like everyone else. And on top of that, I would not make this decision if I didn't feel confident that this player was indeed innocent. So we don't know. But
you have to maintain your innocence against 66 accusations. What else can you do?
You can be
like, I'm guilty 21 times.
We talk about
but he doesn't want to settle because that presumes guilt.
There was a guy that won the Arthur Ashe Award that said even 40 years in jail, he was innocent. He was proven right. So at the end of the day, if you believe you're innocent, you will fight no matter how many times something's thrown against you. And no shade, 100%. When it comes to African-American men, there are certain things that have been created in the past that have put people in worse and adverse situations because they wanted to put him out and make an example out of people. So I say to Deshaun and people that may want to say, because I think, you know what? There's a chance he could be innocent. And then in that case, Cleveland, you made the
also
right
a chance he couldn't.
Very true. But you made the right point. We've been talking, this whole segment has been talking about in the sense of he may be innocent, he may be guilty. I'm just saying there's the other side to it, and that everything that we have just dedicated the last 15 minutes about could be wrong. He could be innocent.
Could be. You know, you talked about the dude that said, you know what I mean? And we've all watched the Innocence Project, you know. But bear in mind, when you got people that are sitting in prison for crimes they didn't commit, you know, that's due to many factors like prosecutorial misconduct, witness tampering, crooked police officers, you know, things like that get brought to light. Now, Deshaun Watson very well may be innocent in playing devil's advocate here. Now, you got 66 accusations. What are the chances he goes 66-0?
Well, it's not say he had a conversation with 66 women, but it's actually like 26 women. But to JJ's point, it's not really about that for me, because we got to wrap this segment up anyway. Yeah. It's a very tricky situation, and it's very I think it's very tricky for these young ladies to get the evidence that they need to have. Right. So it's very, very tricky, but we are going to wrap it up there. So divisional previews, guys, we're going to start it off with the NFC North. We're all going to go around the horn. We're going to rank the 4 teams, where we see the teams landing in the division for the upcoming season. Detroit Dom, since you're a fan of a team that's from the NFC North, I will let you go ahead and go first on this, Detroit Dom. So who you got 1 through 4 in the NFC North?
I mean, it's very, very obvious.
First.
Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears. Packers with 11, 12, 13 wins. Vikings with 9, 10, maybe 11. Lions with 6, 7, 8, or 9. Bears, they'll be lucky to sniff 5. Probably 4 wins. 3.5. Oh, going back to my sports
Eric
moron.
Said he's going to buy you a tripod because your phone keeps falling off.
Yeah, it's large amounts of separation. However,
Jesus Christ,
Eric, you jinxed him, man. What was that for?
I mean, it's the Vikings. It's Kirk Cousins. He doesn't play well in games that matter. So the Vikings could easily finish with 9 wins, and us with the same 9 wins when we get that week 18 win against Green Bay, because they've already clinched the division and or their spot in the playoffs. I feel like
you say that every single year.
It's a likely scenario. Like I said, I just want continuity. Quarterback.
So you got Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, JJ.
And
who you got 1 through 4 in the NFC North?
Well, first, I want to apologize because I didn't realize my phone was not charging on this station. So that's why.
That's what it is.
Temporary.
That's what it is.
But I'd be sure to look back at the show to see Jay's response because I appreciate that.
Look at
Eric. Eric, listen.
Look at Eric.
But I have to go.
I feel you, Desert. I feel you.
I will have to go Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions.
Really?
I believe the Packers are the best team in the NFC North, all bar none. I think that it won't be as easy to win it because I think Minnesota had made a very conscious effort on reloading their defense because their offense is explosive. So I have those 2 at the top because I think of all the teams in the division, they're the most
ahead of
they're
us,
the closest
really?
to the complete. In terms of the Lions and the Bears, I find it very interesting that on almost every forum, every platform, even though he is a second-year quarterback, there's more love and possibility of him being better in his second year over the Detroit Lions quarterback in his, 5th or 6th year? I don't think the Lions are better in any kind of way over
our O-line is way better.
Over the Bears from when I look at
our wide receivers are way better. Our quarterback is a little bit better.
You're going to get
defense is a wash.
It's going in. You had yours. I'm just getting on this joint. Personally, I don't think the Bears are worse than the Lions. And I think that if I had to
go bet that money,
who could be the first to 7
go
wins,
bet that money then. That should be easy double money for you.
I will bet on up over and unders for players, Dom. You're not going to get me to bet on the freaking season and teams wins. But
I get it.
Have our own personal in battle about the bet about who's going to win or who has more wins between you guys and the Bears. But personally, I have the Bears over the Lions.
We might not win 7 games. I promise you, the Bears they're not sniffing 7 games. They'll be so fortunate to get 5.
I'll tell you what. I'll bet Dom because I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna go against the grain. I'm going to say Packers, Bears, Vikings, Lions. I got next season the Bears, the second best team in that division, and here's why from my standpoint. Number one, they got rid of Matt Nagy. So they're already you looking on the up. You know what I mean?
But
Number
they have
two,
an unproven rookie coach.
No one in the
I will
division.
take the unproven rookie over Matt Nagy.
No one in the division has the same GM and offensive coordinator except for us.
So you said Packers, Bears, Vikings, Lions?
Yes. And then also now we've seen, and I know that the jury's still out for Justin Fields. Me personally, now Trubisky was not bad. He was not bad. I just feel overall Fields may be more talented. It's been on him to learn the system, and as long as the coaches put him in a position to succeed and he doesn't lose ball games, I can see the Bears winning about 7-8 games. I mean, they surprised.
They won't though. What did I say before? New head coach, new GM, new coordinator, new system, a quarterback that they spent an extra first-round pick on to draft, and he's not the head coach's guy. He's not the GM's guy. Right. He's not the coordinator's guy. Like it's interesting. It's very punitive to trade quarterbacks on rookie contracts. Justin Fields, chances are 51% chance he's out of there after this year. Watch.
It's interesting, and I'll let Jay get back to his point is that Dom, you sat there. We're the only team that hasn't had a GM and a coach change. You're 1 year removed from that. Just act like you ain't been there for 6 years and had this team.
Oh, we have.
You're 1 year removed from the same situation most of these teams in.
We got.
I see the difference of
so we got 1, and they've got 0, 0, 0. So we're still ahead.
1 year, and you were the worst team in the division, I believe.
I know. What did I say? Continuity. Same
year.
Coach, same quarterback 5 years from now.
I promise from last year don't matter.
It's not.
I said the same.
Right,
they do.
I said
Continuity
the
matters.
same thing last year.
Continuity matters. We have it. They don't.
Between GM and coach pairing amongst the other teams. You're 1 year away. So in all actuality, you guys are both in the same boat.
Oh, it's not a big lead. It's a small lead. Very small.
All right, I'm going to knock it out. I'm going to knock mine out real quick.
I don't think Jay finished his point.
I'll be real quick. I'm gonna kind of correlate this and then and give one side a chance here because
appreciate you, Desert. Thanks for stopping by, bro.
We did talk about how Mitch Trubisky may be better now that he's away from Nagy. I'm gonna say the same thing about Fields. I'm gonna give him a chance in that aspect. I think overall the team may be better once that cancer is gone, which he is gone. And then after that, the Vikings, I got them as the third best team. Kirk Cousins, I'm not saying he's on his last leg. I just think that the Packers are way better and the Bears will be better. And then the Lions are just going to be the Lions. Dom, I'll hold you to that bet, bro.
Super weak schedule.
All right. Let me say something because I believe that we're all going to have a
lose to all the bad teams.
I believe we're all going to have a different lineup of the NFC North, and I'm going to blow your guys' minds away as well because I also have the Green Bay Packers win the division. That's obvious. I think that the Aaron Rodgers disrespect that has continued to happen during this offseason, saying that he won't be the same without Devontae Adams. You guys are forgetting that he won 2 league MVPs before Devontae Adams, and he won back-to-back with Devontae the last 2 years. So don't act like Aaron Rodgers is not elite before Devontae Adams. That's number one. So they're clearly going to win the division. The receivers, they will not replace Devontae Adams' production, but collectively as a unit, they will do enough, and Aaron Rodgers will be Aaron Rodgers, and they will win the division. I have the Detroit Lions coming in second place in this division. The reason why is because I believe that they are riding with the culture that Dan Campbell has put into place. It's different than like a lot of the Detroit Lions head coaches. The players clearly want to play hard for him. The receiver position, I think the dynamic between St. Brown and Jameson Williams is going to be something to keep an eye out for the Detroit Lions passing game, and the offensive line is very good. So they should be able to protect, if they can protect Jared Goff, as much as a disrespect that I've said about him, Jared Goff with those type of wide receivers can do some damage. So I do have them
sitting in the pocket, eating a sandwich.
The Minnesota Vikings I have in third. I do think they are typically a pretty overrated team year to year. On paper, they always look really good, but they're just never able to perform in the big games. Kirk Cousins just isn't that guy, and I think that this is going to be his last year as a Viking, and come next season, Minnesota will be looking for their next quarterback. And then I have the Chicago Bears coming in last. I just don't think the team has done enough to support Justin Fields, who's a young quarterback that's trying to grow and get better. They haven't gotten him that true wide receiver that he needs to help him grow and develop. With Josh Allen, you saw them go out and get Stephon Diggs when he was in his third season, I believe. And then this season, you saw the Philadelphia Eagles went out and got A.J. Brown, who has a great, fantastic relationship with Jalen Hurts off and on the field. So they're trying to help Jalen Hurts in his development. I do not think the Bears have made any moves to help Justin Fields in his development. So I think the Chicago Bears are coming in fourth in this division when it's all said and done. But with that being said, guys, those are our predictions for the NFC North. Now, with the last few minutes we do have of the show here, we are going to go into our non-sports topics. For those of you guys that are new to the show, what we do is we talk mostly about the NFL for the whole show, and then for the last few minutes, we talk about some stuff that's outside of sports. So this was Jay's idea for a topic this week. He says, if you could resurrect a dead celebrity and trade lives with them, who would be your celebrity? Jay, since this was your idea, this is your topic, who you got? Who you resurrecting, and who are you bringing back to switch lives with?
Tupac Shakur. I always like asking this question because I like getting everyone's thoughts and opinions about it and reasonings. The man was half revolutionary, half rock star. He was laid back. He was a fan of house parties up until the time of his death. I mean, he really was living it up. But then also he had the words. His words were like magic. His lyrics had power to them. He had the ability to uplift people and to bring people together and whatnot. And he was revolutionary. He was a visionary, So most definitely my pick will be Tupac Shakur. Go ahead, Dom.
Tupac was one of my 6. I have 6. The first four are Club 27, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain. My other 2 were Tupac and Biggie. But those were all 6 revolutionary musicians. The 4 on the left side. Those are all. Yeah. Huh?
Some guys in the comment section. He wants to train with Jada Pinkett.
I'm like, Jada's not dead.
No, he's saying Jada Pinkett would love if Tupac would have come back to life.
Straight up.
I would for sure trade Will Smith for
Paul Walker.
And shout out to Will Smith though.
Nice.
Go ahead, James.
I don't know why Will continues to take her crap, but I'm not going to get into all that. For me, I will also go with Kobe Bryant because for a few reasons in his prime, I would just be switch lives with Kobe Bryant. I would just walk into the Lakers front office and be like, yo, I want to trade to Philly. And then that way the Sixers can probably actually win some championships. Second of all, the fact that Kobe was he was so respected and he could pretty much say what he wanted. For example, later in his career, he walked into the locker room one day and he was just and Kobe's obviously from Philly. He went to the Lower Merion High School, but he basically walked into the locker room one day and was like, I just came in here one last time to say goodbye to you because a bunch of y'all bums are getting traded tomorrow. And Kobe was an inspiration, bro. You can't even just forget him as a basketball player, but as a man, he inspired a lot of people. There's a reason a bunch of kids would always ball up a piece of paper and scream Kobe as they're shooting it in. So Kobe Bryant, definitely an inspirational guy, and it was very tragic whenever we did lose him for sure.
Who you got, JJ?
Malcolm X.
Nah.
For the simple fact of, I think one thing that's lost in this generation to myself that I feel like I have fallen into that trap before is understanding how hard it was to be a man of color and a black man in general. And just to remember reading his life when I was a kid, understanding that he found out 2 different truths of this world. He found out that the culture in the world at that time he grew up was rough and hardcore. But he also gained perspective when he took that trip to Mecca and realized that it's not just on one side, it's on the other side. and it became the embodiment of who he was as an individual. And to me, when I look back on Black history, I look back on men that I grew up reading and always wanted to kind of pick their brains and meet. I would have picked Barack Obama, but he's alive. But it's definitely Malcolm X, because I feel like I can understand more how to be a really strong and powerful Black man from reading and looking and talking to him, because he was a dude that did not care about what was going on in the world, did not care. He could say whatever's on his mind. You may not like it, but the way he presented it, you had to respect it. And so I would go with Malcolm X.
That's definitely a good answer.
Absolutely. And, you know,
Martin Luther King wouldn't be bad either.
One thing to touch on with what JJ said with Malcolm X, you know, that trip to Mecca, you know, he came back and he said, like, you know, I took a look around the whole time there, and there was people of all like colors and creeds. Like, he saw whites there worshiping, he saw Hispanics, he saw Asians and everything. And one thing about taking that trip to Mecca is you can't tell anyone from anyone because they got on the same white garb. So to your left, while you're on the prayer mat, you might be next to a dude that's like dirt poor. And then the guy to your right, he may be like the top 10 rich dude in Saudi Arabia or whatnot, you know. Everyone looked the same. You couldn't tell a social class just by how everyone was dressed. They was in traditional garb. But that was one thing I just wanted to point out about Malcolm. That trip to Mecca, and if you get the chance, look it up. You know, it really opened his eyes to a whole lot.
Thank you, Desert
Great
Eagle.
pick, JJ.
Kevin Samuels spoke facts, and he was hated for it. That's all I'm going to say.
You know, but
He's speaking from
He
the
spoke
brain.
facts.
Actually, you know what? Here's the thing, and I actually am very excited that we brought this man up, because I was just talking to my branch manager who had followed Kevin Samuels long before he had got into the name that he became. He had said when he first watched Kevin Samuels was nothing like people have revered him to be. He was very much a guy that was very open to listening to a woman's feelings and how they feel. And then when he got big and realized that, because to him, he was kind of like a guy that milked the whatever was hot. He pointed out that he watched all his podcasts. He said, Joseph, if you watch all his podcasts, you would see when it comes to women of his own color, he was always hard on them, always didn't give a crack, it's whatever. But if you look at people of different color that wasn't him, he wasn't as hardcore.
Thanks for tuning in, Randall.
On them as much as he was the people of color. And my manager basically said he used what he knew was going to be able to get him hot, and that was be the person to come on Black women, because in Black men and the Black women debate, women were always getting the upper hand, and he was the first person to basically speak to what Black men wanted to say. So it's very
as he should have
that we brought that up, because it's wondering, like, is he really that person, or was he that person because he knew that was a way for him to get big?
Both. That man spit truth out of every orifice of his body.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had to go into about 4.5 minutes of overtime here on the Gauntlet. Make sure you guys tune in next Saturday at the same time, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. By the way, to all the people in the comment section, also thank you guys for watching. But next week is an opportunity for you guys, as the Gauntlet is going to have our very first call-in show. So any of you viewers that would like to hop on with us, talk about football or whatever you want to talk about with us, that is going to be your opportunity next Saturday. Going to have the first call-in show in Gauntlet history, so definitely excited about that. And from all of us here at the Sideline Sports Network, this is your host,
just me,
with the most, Philly Jim.
Pop it,
and
one
the
hand.
Gauntlet crew.
Pop it, two hands.
And the Gauntlet crew and the Four Horsemen.
You're not popping it, James.
See you guys on the next episode.